about this, but something I got to rant a bit on. I wouldn't say a real rant, but it just baffles me how I keep seeing people blaming Rockstar or Grand Theft Auto 6 for why games are now going to be $80, and why the whole code in the box thing is going to be the norm, and things like that. It's like, dude, this crap's been happening long before GTA 6. You know, like, I would say Nintendo is guilty of most of it, if we want to be perfectly honest, or heck, they might even be guilty of all of it. I mean, at the end of the day, the guilt really goes on to the consumers who keep buying into all these shady business tactics and whatnot. Let's just keep it real on that. You know, these companies are only as successful as what the customers make them. So, yeah. Just saying, they're not, it's not the companies and developers that are going out and buying the product. It's the customers that are going out and buying it. So, the customers are the ones at fault here when it's all said and done. But who was the first one to try the $70 price tag? Alright, that was Nintendo with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Who was the first one to try the $80 price tag? And got away with it, I might add. Oh yeah, that's right. It was Nintendo again with Mario Kart World. And they've charged $80 for other games besides Mario Kart World. You know, there was a couple of their Nintendo Switch 2 editions of games where they've done that crap too. And they're about to do it again with the next Fire Emblem game that comes out in September. So, yeah. Nintendo's the one that's been setting a norm when it's all said and done. Heck, they're the ones that even started the whole keycard crap. Now, yes, Microsoft was going to try that nonsense back with the Xbox One. You know, that was one of the things they were going to do, and the backlash they received was so bad and everything that they had to pull a completely 180. And Sony was going to do the same thing, but they just sat back and watched what kind of backlash Microsoft received, so they decided not to do it. So that's why the PlayStation ended up being more successful during the time. If Sony would have been honest with what they were planning on doing during that time, then quite frankly, I don't think Sony or Microsoft at all would have done good. Just can't keep it real on that. People would have probably been like, screw both companies at that point. But no, Sony was going to do the same thing during that time, but, they saw the backlash that Microsoft received and was like, okay, never mind. No, instead they decided to wait for a more opportune time to try that crap. They decided to wait until digital sales are at an all-time high until they try that crap. So, yeah. But it is what it is on that. But my point is, like, Nintendo's the one that started all this crap if we want to keep it real. Just saying, they're the ones that they were the first ones to try to do the whole keycard crap or code in a box. I've seen it multiple times already, several different games on the Switch and Switch 2. They started the $70 price tag with Tears of the Kingdom, and then they started the $80 price tag with Mario Kart World. So if anybody really wants to look at any gaming company, if they really want to put the blame on a gaming company rather, then it's Nintendo they need to be looking at. Just saying. Like I said though, at the end of the day, the main fault goes on to the customers, but yeah. But it is what it is. Like I said, you'll never see me spend like $80 to $100 on data. If I can't get an actual disc or cartridge, then I'll just pass up on the game altogether. I don't mind buying digital, but I ain't gonna spend full retail price on a digital game or anything. So, yeah. If they get it on a really good sale, fine. But if not, then not worried about it. Like I said, it's just funny because it's not like GTA 6 is a one-of-a-kind type of game. There are plenty of alternatives when it comes to that whole open-world dicking around type of experience. Like, we just keep it real on that. So, yeah, heck, sometimes there's even better games out there. So, yeah, sometimes the alternatives are better, Doesn't happen very often where the alternatives are better, but there's quite a bit of times where the alternatives are better, so yeah, it is what it is on that, so yeah.